Here we are, we're live.
Word.
Yeah. DoctorRandomercam, how are you, man?
I'm awesome. I'm ace. And all kinds of positive adjectives. That's what I am.
Fantastic. First and foremost, what does the doctor think of these kids that are getting abused by their parents for YouTube shekels?
I've only seen that in screenshots. I wondered what it was about. I think that's cleared it up for me. It's something Keemstar talked about, right? And that pissed a bunch of people off.
Yeah. Keemstar interviewed him just before, and I reckon they. What does chat reckon? I reckon they put their fucking foot in it. Like it was bad enough because they play these pretty horrible pranks on their kids. Like they tell them they, putting them up for adoption and shit like that, and they fucking chuck them around and all that sort of shit. But they jumped on this thing with Keemstar, and they're like, oh well, like there's heaps of shit that doesn't go up. Like they've got lines that, like, if we cross them, then we don't put the video up. So it's like, what? So there's even worse ones.
Well, this was the basis of the video I did on Sargon's channel that one time, because this is something Jimmy Kimmel's been doing as a tradition every Halloween, by encouraging parents to get to lie to their kids that they ate all their Halloween candy, and then film their reaction. And that's, I mean, it's not physical abuse, but when you see their fucking reactions and you're doing that on purpose, I don't want to wade into shit I don't know anything about, but that seems at least level 1 abusive, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, it was like that. Remember that black kid last year that said he was that he backed Trump in his class election, or his fake class election, and his mum was saying, right, you're moving out, and he's crying and wailing. Did you see that one?
I don't think so.
Oh, that was incredibly sad. He was, he fairly can believe that his mum was kicking him out of the house. It was fun. Yeah. I watched your your fucking MGTOW, what's his name, Dr. Peterson video before. He was a bit venomous on the old MGTOW.
Yeah, I have no objection to a bit of venomous language here and there. I'm not going to throw the first stone, as it were, but I thought, okay, if that's what we're doing, then I'm going to be as polite as possible. Did you notice I didn't say fuck until right at the very end? I didn't do much swearing in that. Every now and again, I try to do a video where I don't do much swearing.
Well, hang on, I don't recall you swearing much anyway. You're not a big swearer, right?
I do. I throw in a fuck here and there all the time.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah. I used a little bit of your your classic fucking bearing Sargon Trump, bearing Sargon Trump in a fucking in a very nearly viral video the other day. Did you see that one?
Oh, the one where the guys are being Christy and Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, fuck. Didn't Lacey play Christy well? Yeah, fucking hell.
This stuff of nightmares.
Almost
as bad as the real thing.
Let's have a look at these FAQs. So this is just at the end of a. If anyone hasn't seen it, this is just at the end of like an Antifa website sort of like article thing, and it's called the Free Speech FAQ, and it's supposedly for to straighten out those nagging questions that new Antifa people have about free speech. And hang on a sec, isn't what we're doing a bit fucked sort of thing? It's to iron out those niggling doubts.
A little fun game you can play is every time they say fascists, replace it with like infidels or fucking heathens or goyim or something like that. It's a fun game you can play. Now you could probably play this with anyone. You can go through our stuff and replace feminist with infidel and go, haha, you're doing it as well. But not when we say shit like infidels are in charge of the universities, because that's never true.
Remember, you know what game I think I heard you and the Badgers play it once. There was a game where it was something about
where you think of a random topic and then try and explain why women are the victims of it.
Yeah. How it oppressed women or how it oppressed feminists or something. Was that it?
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, it's not even a game. It's what academic feminists do. They they pick any subject and explain with as many buzzwords as possible how women are the ultimate victims of it.
Yeah, that's good. That you should get that out more. All right, I'll screen share and we'll have a look at this FAQ. Bearing Saigon Trump. Fuck, that's funny.
It's a catchy tune, but the lyrics aren't catchy because you can't actually remember how the lyrics go. You just got to improvise. Saigon Trump, bearing Saigon Trump.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Can I? Yes, I can.
All right, so we'll go through them and we'll dissect. Look at this. When fascists can speak.
When infidels can speak.
Everyone is silenced. Right. Stopping fascists from speaking
Infidels.
makes you just as bad as them. You could just as easily saying that not stopping infidels from speaking makes you as bad as them, because it gives them the opportunity to organize to impose their agenda on the rest of us. If you care about freedom, don't stand idly by while people mobilize to take it away.
All right. So this means no matter what you do, you're as bad as fascists, like already.
Yeah.
If you stop them, you're as bad as them. If you don't stop them, you're as bad as them. You are automatically already the enemy, even if you're with us.
Exactly.
It's a bit fucked, guys. It's a little bit fucked.
Yeah, it's like saying they're basically saying we can't have a situation where they have freedom of speech because they might plot against us and take our freedom of speech.
It all makes perfect sense if they're talking about infidels.
It's fucking paranoid. Shouldn't we just ignore them? They want attention, and if we give it to them, we're letting them win. Actually, infidels usually don't want to draw attention to their organising. They do most of it in secret for fear that an outraged public will shut them down.
See what I mean? This is what I'm talking about. You know the public is on your side. That's why fascist is interchangeable with infidel here. Notice that's something I would never say about feminists. Because feminists can say whatever the hell they like in public without consequence. Well, that is not interchangeable with infidel. It's interchangeable with the fucking prophet.
Where and how did Nazi come into it recently? How did it turn from fascist to Nazi?
Because that sounds even worse.
Oh, it's just the pressure's on, Trump's in, so we better paint them to be bigger cunts than they are.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of years ago, I wondered if they take the demonization of MRAs all the way to whoever the opposite party is. But no, that didn't have enough punch. Like, what the fuck is an MRA? I don't know what those are.
Hang on. Sounds again. What do you mean?
Well, they'll latch on to whatever enemy sounds worse. And I wondered 2 years ago if they'd take like Gamergators and MRAs all the way to an election level and say everyone against us is an MRA and a Gamergator. But evidently that would never be enough for the general public because they don't know what those things are, however deplorable they may find them. If you really want to get everyone on your side, you got to call them fascists and Nazis because everyone knows what those are.
Yeah.
Even little kids know what Nazis are, you know.
They only organise public events to show potential recruits that they have power. Did you watch any of this this free speech rally, like the actual talks, like Lauren Southern and the other speakers at this thing?
No, I couldn't think of it. I have no idea what they said.
It was all pretty. I watched most of it. It was pretty fucking innocent. It was pretty, yay free speech, and everyone's got rights, and it was all lovey. It was. I don't understand how they get these fucking organize public events to show potential recruits that they have power. It's fucking paranoid.
In other words, they don't have power. That's what you're admitting there. That your enemies are people with no real power, and you know it. You just give yourselves license to forget it, so you can fucking punch them and shit.
Have you watched much of the actual riot footage and all that?
Yeah. Obviously, that was the first thing I saw. I mean,
Pretty
it
fucking.
made all the headlines rather than the actual speeches themselves. Maybe that was the
Yeah.
whole fucking point, you know.
Well, there was
So
very
that,
little of the speeches. It's all fucking right. Like it was. I think I only managed to see about a minute of Lauren Southern's speech. I couldn't actually find the whole thing. She was the headline speaker.
yeah, actions speak louder than words. There were a bunch of actions after the words,
Mm.
and yeah, they spoke louder, I
What about
suppose.
what about the fucking what about the throwing the smoke bomb against the wind? That was quite hilarious. That was fucking funny.
Yeah, it's as though they don't know what they're doing.
By publicly opposing fascists, we make it clear to them, and more importantly, to anyone else interested in part of the political spectrum. Hang on a second. Fuck that up. By publicly opposing fascists, we make it clear to them, and more importantly, to anyone else interested in joining them, that they will not be able to consolidate power without a fight. Jesus. Ignoring fascists only allows them to organise unhindered. And history shows that can be very dangerous. Better we shut them down once and for all. What's once
Yeah,
and for all, though?
that's terrorism. They've just described terrorism there.
Yeah.
Just fill them with fear so that they don't bother.
But how does one shut them down once and for all? Like, what does that mean? Does that mean change their opinion? Does it mean kill them? Does it? I don't understand what that's meant to mean.
It's just rhetoric. It's most of this is just rhetoric. It doesn't answer the questions at all. It just puts walls of text up with no sense of self-awareness. Just to say, no, we don't have to think about that. No, we don't have to think about that one either. No, none of these are things we have to think about because
You'd think
infidels are bad. You see, okay?
you'd think the typical consumer of this literature would have these questions, though. Would be asking these questions, wouldn't it?
I don't know, man. They think they're killing Hitler. You can't reason with people who think they have the responsibility of time travelers who came back to before Hitler started the Second World War and shit.
Jesus. Are you blocked by Steve?
I don't know. I've never checked. I've never looked at his Twitter page. I've never
Should.
seen any of his tweets, not
You
or
should
anything.
see his Nazi rant this morning. It was amazing. It was amazing. In fact, we might have a look at that in a sec. The best way to defeat fascism is to let them express their views so everyone can see how ignorant they are. We can refute them more effectively with ideas than force. What? They're not living by that, really, are they?
Well, this is one of the questions.
Yeah, this is just the question. Oh yeah. Hang on. I'll look at a rebut it, don't we? A bit slow. People don't become fascists because they find their ideas persuasive. People become fascists for the same reason others become police officers or politicians, to wield power over other people. It's up to us to show the fascist organising will not enable them to obtain this power, but will only result in public humiliation. That is the only way to cut off their source of potential recruits.
They've got a hell of an attitude about the police, considering they appear to be on their side.
What on?
I don't know. At Berkeley, yeah. I don't know if they were fucking paid off or something.
They reckon that they're in full opposition to the police and the government and everything. They reckon. I think they actually say in this document, you know, that the police are more like the fascists than us.
Yeah, which is fucking bizarre, considering they're not. They're letting this. At some point, I recall they do say that if anarchists tried to do anything, then the police beat them down. No, they fucking don't. You've seen the evidence for it. 3 times this has happened at Berkeley, and I think every time the police have just gone, nope, we're not doing anything. Why not?
And it seemed
not telling you.
it seemed this time there was even promises of yeah, we'll be there to have your back, sort of thing. But and then like Lauren Southern was saying, you know, the weapons and the potential weapons were taken off the people on the right, and the Antifas on the outskirts who didn't go through checkpoints and shit had their sticks and bats and fucking M80s and shit.
I have to wonder if someone is paying off the police, like Soros, then how are they going to react now that a woman's been punched? You have to send the police in when the women on the good side get punched. So now you have to pay the police off to only arrest the free speech advocates and to figure out who the communists are and who the Nazis are, and only arrest the Nazis. And everyone who's not a communist is a Nazi, obviously.
It's a pretty like radically fucking liberal area though. Like I was reading just a local rag yesterday, like a local like fucking news website, and it is so fucking far left it's not funny. It seems just the general population are pretty far left. History has shown over and over that fascism is not defeated by ideas alone, but by popular self-defense. We're told that if all ideas are debated openly, the best one will win out. Now, why wouldn't that be the case? But this fails to account for the reality of unequal power. Comments?
Yeah, it's we are good and you are bad, and you only the infidels do bad things and we never do. That's
but unequal power. Fucking hell, like they're Jesus Christ, like they're invading this free speech rally, and the police are standing there doing fucking nothing. Where's this unequal power coming from? I don't understand that.
I think, yeah, it's some kind of big chunk of cognitive dissonance that's in there, where they say, no, we only have this advantage because of the because we don't have equal power.
You know, have you ever seen the Bronx blogger?
No, that.
He's a YouTuber. He's a small YouTuber. He did a video just before. I watched about half of it, and there's a point where he says he's just in disbelief. He said, "I can't believe that side is considered the freedom side, and we're not considered the freedom side." Like you've got people dressed in uniform, like fucking black get-ups with fucking masks on, chanting, walking in to break up this fucking free speech rally. Are you insane?
Everyone thinks they're on the side of freedom and justice and equality because these
I'm
are all
on the side of freedom, cunt. I am.
Like when you've got universally good terms like this, then obviously both sides of a large dispute are going to claim they are that thing. But it just requires the cognitive dissonance to say I believe in love while fucking throwing a brick at your opponent.
Jesus Christ. But I mean, they obviously have these same sort of thoughts about. I don't want to say us, but I mean, I want to say, you know, that side. Like, I'm just a bit in disbelief how someone can say, I can't believe they're the freedom side and we're not. Like you're literally walking into a fucking free speech rally where they were talking about good, lovey fucking, you know, rights for everyone, liberty and fucking rah, 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 and breaking it up with violence and bats and burning shit and throwing explosives. It's insane.
It's the ends justifying the means. I think
what's the ends? What's the end?
Utopia, I think, is the shortest answer.
Really?
Yeah. Well, to some degree.
What the fuck? It ends with what's utopia? What do you think utopia is?
Well, what communists think utopia is a classless state where no one is richer than anyone else. I mean, that's the end game. The beginning game is to kill Hitler to stop his Nazis from rising in the first place. So they've got a more immediate goal at this point.
Jesus.
See what I mean?
Where were we? History. Hang on, do we do this part? History is shown over and over. Oh yeah, we did. Fascists cannot be very useful to those with power and privilege. Fascists can be very useful to those with power and privilege. who often supply them with copious resources. If they can secure more airtime and visibility for their ideas than we can, we would be fools to limit ourselves to that playing field.
I think they're saying if everyone's ideas can be heard, then we might not win. we want a situation where we definitely win. Yeah.
We can debate their ideas all day long, but if we don't prevent them from building the capacity to make them a reality, it won't matter. Fuck, that's just doubling down on it. We can debate their ideas all day long, but if we don't prevent them from building the capacity, fucking hell. If we've literally got to stop them from doing anything they want to do.
It's get them before they get us. It's usually part of the motive for going to war, at some point along the line.
Fuck. Neo-Nazis are irrelevant. Institutionalized racism poses the real threat today, not the extremists at the fringe.
Now this is, I've read this article before, it's just a long fucking snot stream of postmodern nonsense. Because the frequently asked question at this point is a classic SJW.
I can't see that being a frequently asked question. Fucking hell, it's nothing I would fucking dream of. Neo-Nazis are irrelevant. Institutionalized racism poses the real threat today, not the extremists at the fringe. What institutionalized racism is there?
It's everywhere, you see. It's not just the Nazis. It's everything that white men say and do because of white privilege and male privilege and shit. So why are you focusing on the Nazis when there's men everywhere? That sort of thing. But white people everywhere, I suppose, is this question.
But surely institutionalized means systemized in some way. Like there's a.
It's one of their buzzwords. It's meaningless. I mean, they hold easily as many institutions as their opponents, more, to be honest. I mean, universities are institutions. Courts are institutions. The fucking police is an institution, and like I said, they appear to be on the side of the anarchists in this situation.
But even if they don't have power of an institution, that doesn't mean that there's institutionalized racism present. I mean,
no, and unless you absolutely insist there is, and that's the whole point of SJWs. Yeah, racism isn't just limited to racists. It's everyone I say is racist is racist.
it's unconscious fucking.
Yeah, so you can accuse anyone at any time of being racist, and it's arguably true.
That's such fucking bullshit. Unconscious bias. You don't know you're doing it.
Yeah, but I do. You don't know you're doing it, but I do.
Trust me. The bulk of racism takes place in The bulk of racism takes place in subtle, everyday forms, but fascist visibility enables other right-wing groups to frame themselves as moderates, helping to legitimize the racist and xenophobic assumptions underlying their position. Oh, fuck, this is word soup. Underlying their positions and the systems of power and privilege they defend. What the fuck did that mean?
Yeah, it's just the postmodern buzzwords. They know what the question is, and like I said, it's a shit test for SJWs. How would you know what are the correct buzzwords to answer this question? Aha, I know those. Bang, bang, bang. It's nonsense.
I don't even see how you begin to make sense of that.
And his fascist visibility enables other right-wing groups to frame themselves as moderates. You mean moderates? Moderate right-wing groups exist, But yeah, there's another thing we won't get across to them. There's no such thing as a moderate right-winger. They're all fascists, of course.
Taking a stand against fascists is an essential step towards discrediting the structures and values at the root of institutionalized racism. Taking a stand against fascists is an essential step towards discrediting the structures, towards discredit. We want to discredit a structure and values at the what? Fuck me.
It's meaningless. This is what fucking postmodernism does. It's to people who want to keep believing what they believe. They just go, yes, this This is a very intelligent sentence you've written here. I agree.
Yeah.
But if you actually try and pick it apart, it's just, no, that word's meaningless. That word's meaningless. Maybe if one of these words has a meaning, then you could hang the rest of the words on it. But no, it's meaningless word after meaningless word.
Do you reckon they all just pretend to sort of get it, so they look look good in front of the next person?
It's throwing words at a problem instead of actually discussing it. It's like throwing money at a problem instead of actually thinking of a business model.
Here and worldwide, fascists still terrorize and murder people because of racial, religious, and sexual difference. Here and worldwide,
where? I don't often say this, but citation needed.
Yeah.
If you'd like me to give you examples of communists terrorizing and not murdering people yet, then yeah, 3 examples just in Berkeley this fucking year.
How would you define a fascist? What's a fascist?
I don't even know. I mean, it's connected with what happened in Western Europe in the early 20th century. Mussolini and Franco were nominally fascists. In those days, you could call yourself a fascist and it wasn't considered an insult. But nowadays it is, because there's not many people who will admit to being fascists. But it's...
How is Marxist not an insult?
Exactly. Exactly. Possibly because it's named after a dude. And I don't know, you need to be a bit more visceral to create an insult. Why isn't Hitlerist a word? Hey?
Fucking hell.
Why isn't Stalinist? Stalinist is a word, I think.
Stalinist is a word, yeah. That is a word.
But it's not an insult, and that fucking should be, shouldn't it?
Yeah. No one's no one goes with Stalinist though, because I mean that'd be a bit like Hitlerist. It's just a cunt who killed a lot of fucking people. So let's just call it Marxism. Fucking hell, that's yeah. So here and worldwide, fascists still terrorize and murder people because of racial, religious, and sexual difference. Sexual difference, as in man and woman, or gay and straight and trans and cis.
All of the above, I think.
It's both naive and disrespectful to their victims to gloss over the past and present realities of fascist violence. It's both naive and disrespectful to their victims to gloss over the past and present realities of fascist violence.
What about communist violence? Well, we can gloss over. It didn't happen.
But what present reality of fascist violence?
I don't know. Like I say, fascism was generally a thing that happened in Western Europe, and what's happening in Western Europe now is the fucking EU. Well, I suppose it is collapsing, and there's a few countries with right-wing nationalist groups cropping up, but I wouldn't call them fascists. I don't know if fascists call themselves fascists anymore. With right-wing nationalist groups.
I just want to get a dictionary definition of fascist. Or fascism. An authoritarian and nationalistic right-wing system of government and social organisation.
Still pretty vague, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's yeah. It is. Yeah, it's very vague.
It's a bit like calling someone a Nazi, but there were more countries into fascism than actual Nazism. You might say Nazism is a kind of fascism, but you can also say Nazism is a kind of socialism because it's actually short for National Socialist German Workers' Party.
Yeah. As far as I understand, the typical fascism didn't have the socialist aspect to it, did it?
Yeah, which is what's so funny about all this. It's one kind of socialist versus another kind of socialist.
Yeah.
I tweeted about this. I said it's not a culture war; it's a turf war between 2 different kinds of socialists. At least 2. And in the middle is just a bunch of free speech advocates.
Yeah. Where were we? Here we've done that. Because fascists believe in acting directly to carry out their agenda rather than limiting themselves to the Rube Goldberg machine of representative democracy. Rube Goldberg.
It's one of those sort of funny machines where, or maybe you set a ball and it goes along a track, and then it gets to another bit of machine that lifts it up and goes woo in a swirly thing. It's like a cartoon roller coaster for a ball. You've probably seen. You what?
Are you serious?
Yeah. Look up Rube Goldberg machine on YouTube. You see loads of them. People just build them for fun, just to see what they can do with physics.
That sounds like something I'd say to fuck with someone.
OK Go did a famous video for one of their songs where they just build a massive Rube Goldberg machine in this studio. It's pretty good.
It's like a big so it's just like a big mousetrap.
Yeah. Mousetrap is a Rube Goldberg machine that you build while you go around the board.
There you go. So, okay, in context, because fascists believe in acting directly to carry out their agenda rather than limiting themselves to the Rube Goldberg machine of representative democracy, they can be more dangerous proportionate to their numbers than other bigots.
Other bigots? What other kind of bigots are there again? Christians, of course. Let's not forget. Oh, wait, there you go. That's named after a dude, and that's considered an insult sometimes.
What is Christian?
I'm sure atheists have used Christian. I'm sure Muslims have as an insult.
This makes it an especially high priority to deal with them swiftly. Oh, fuck no. That's fucking scary. Free speech means protecting everyone's right to speak, including people you don't agree with. How would you like it if you had an unpopular opinion and other people were trying to silence you? We oppose fascists because of what they... Oh, this one's great. We oppose fascists because of what they do, not what they say.
No, you oppose fascists because of what you think they're going to do. You've already admitted that.
Yeah, but they contradict themselves anyway. We're not opposed to free speech. We're opposed to the fact that they advance an agenda of hate and terror. We have no power to censor them, thanks to the neutrality of the capitalist market. Thanks to the neutrality of the capitalist market, they continue to publish hate literature in print and on the internet. We're not opposed to free speech. We just don't want them publishing stuff on the internet or in print. But we will not let them come into our communities to build the power they need to enact their hatred. So we won't let them speak either. But we're not against free speech. Fuck me.
We just don't like hatred, so we're going to throw bricks at it.
Well, it's just fucking hate speech thing, isn't it? It's hate speech is just the way that people can basically oppose free speech without sort of appearing to oppose free speech.
Yeah. Our free speech is good speech, and their free speech is hate speech.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's just, I mean, hate speech is just always going to be the opposing speech, isn't it?
And this is why we have to take a hardline stance on no, even if it is hate speech, it's still allowed. So I'm fine for feminists to organize women's march where they stand up and say fucking hateful things about men to thousands of people. I'm like, all right, that's fine too. That sounds hateful to me, but I'm absolutely fine with you doing it. I'm gonna say something in response to it if I may.
Isn't Europe were they trying to push something through in relation to the policing the internet and social media with regards to hate speech recently?
Oh, I'm sure that there's many provinces in many European countries where they're doing that. They did it in Scotland for a while. The police actually tweeted out, like, don't send hateful things or you might get a visit from us, which is pretty fucking scary.
Does that worry you?
Yeah, of course it does.
So what are the rules you're up against? If you say something hateful, the police can come and knock on your door and what? can they charge you?
Yeah, well, that's essentially what happened to Count Dankula, the guy with the Nazi pug dog.
Yeah, but what
He's
was
facing charges for hate speech.
Oh, fucking hell.
I don't know if he's been to court yet, but yeah, he's up for charges of hate speech against Jews for teaching his dog to do a Nazi salute. Yeah, they made an example of him, but that's the whole point of making an example. Don't tell jokes about Nazis on the internet, which is weirdly exactly what Nazis would say. But yeah, there's this fucking Islamophobia thing coming in Canada. If that goes through, then won't be able to go to tweet bad things about Islam from Canada.
Yeah.
Or you risk whatever the punishment is for Islamophobia over there.
Well, our PM's actually pushing for an ease up on our version of that, basically. Our racial vilification laws have got this absurd thing where it's how's it worded? It's an individual will not say anything to is it offend or it says really fucking watery words, offend or humiliate or something like that. And so yeah, in relation to one's race, and it's been like that since about 1996, and it's caused all sorts of troubles. But they want to change that to harass, I think. Which is I'm a hell of a lot more confident of not harassing someone than I am of not offending someone. Let me tell you.
You reckon? You fucking reckon? They'll call it whatever word they've decided that they're calling it now. Yeah. I know it was 2 fucking years ago, and we keep going on about it, but we got kicked out of a convention for quote harassing the panel.
What was how did you harass the panel?
Alison stood up and addressed something that the panel said, asked to speak, was granted permission, and said it. Chatted for about 2 minutes and then sat down.
Didn't raise her voice, didn't yell, didn't scream.
No, the recording's all there on the internet. Didn't
that go to court for some reason recently?
It's going to court in November. We went to court in January to do the pre-trial summary judgment thing.
What are you fighting though? You're trying to get a ban lifted, or you're getting
injurious? We're suing for injurious falsehood, which isn't the same as defamation.
Damages.
Yeah, basically. They lied about us in the press, and lots of people bought it. So, which it has, in theory and in demonstrable practice, presumably, prevented us from reaching the market that we otherwise would be able to. So it sort of counts, not as defamation, but as injurious falsehood, which no one's ever sued for before in Canada. So we're setting a precedent just by getting it to court, even if we don't win.
So why not defamation?
Because you can't sue for defamation in these circumstances. It's so complicated. I'm glad that's all left up to Alison and the lawyer.
Is it Honey Badger's a company? Often companies can't sue for defamation.
We weren't a company at the time. We've since incorporated. Obviously, we're only small. So yeah, that's all boring legalese at this point.
The government and police have never protected everyone's free speech equally, and never will. It is in their self-interest to repress views and actions that challenge existing power inequalities. They will spend hundreds of thousands of taxpayers' dollars on riot police, and then they'll all sit in the car at fucking Berkeley, helicopters and sharpshooters to defend a KKK rally,
a Jew rally.
Fucking hell! When's the last KKK rally you saw with government?
I don't know. I don't know the last time I saw one defended by a fucking dog, let alone police helicopters.
Fucking hell! To defend a KKK rally, but if there's an anarchist rally, The same police will be there to stop it, not protect it.
just picture my confused face with mathematical symbols floating in front of it. What?
Fucking hell. Anarchists don't like being silenced by the state.
I love a bit of state silence. I fucking masturbate to state silence.
Oh, fucking hell. But we don't want the state to define and manage our freedom either. But we don't want the state. Man, anarchists don't like being silenced by the state. But we don't want the state to define and manage our freedom either. Unlike the ACL, what's the ACLU?
I keep forgetting what it's actually for. American Civil Liberties Union. That's it.
Right. So that's a government body, oversight body of some sort.
Yeah. It's their job to sort out racism. It's one of those.
We sort out racism.
Yeah.
Unlike the ACLU, whose supposed defense of freedom leads them to support the KKK and others like them, we support self-defense and self-determination above all. What's the purpose of free speech if not to foster a world free from oppression? Fascists oppose this vision. Thus, we oppose fascism by any means necessary. So what was that saying?
Yeah, infidels oppose this vision. Thus, we oppose infidels by any means necessary.
Fucking hell, everyone's in bed with the KKK.
Apparently.
No idea. If fascists don't have a platform to express their views peacefully, it will drive them to increasingly violent means of expression. Fascists are only attempting to express their views peacefully. What? Fascists are only attempting to express their views peacefully in order to lay the groundwork for violent activity. Because fascists require a veneer of social legitimacy to be able to carry out their program, giving them a platform to speak opens the doors to their being able to do physical harm to people.
So you're not against what they do. You are against what they say, because what they say leads to violence. So stop pretending you're against them.
They're not allowed to do or say anything. There's no doing or saying. Simple as that.
Yeah, you're against them for what you think they're going to do. Why do you think they're going to do this? Because of the things they say. Right. So you are against the things they say.
Exactly. Yeah. But what do they say? I mean, again, go back to what was said at this free speech rally. It was fucking. There was nothing malicious about it. So how do you listen to that and then go, oh well, that's clearly a plan to oppress everyone?
Yeah, they've got it into their heads that they can just call a thing hate and no more research necessary. I don't know how you reason with that. Because whatever you say, they'll call it hate.
Did you see Steve Shaw's Nazi pin?
Yeah, it's not a Nazi pin. The swastika is standing on its corner like a diamond shape. If it's standing on its edge like a square shape, then it's that Hindu symbol. Bane 666 did a brief video about it. Sort of that pin actually means you hate Hindus, Steve.
No, so it's just a matter of turning it on its.
Yeah, obviously it's got the black and white sort of motif of the swastika, but it's just at the wrong angle.
Hindus are allowed to have color preferences. What if Hindus like red?
Yeah, exactly.
Freedom of choice, motherfucker. Public speech.
Normally they're a bit swirlier than that because Hindus are into their swirly things.
Public speech promoting ideologies of hate, whether or not you consider it violent on its own, always complements and correlates with violent actions. Public speech promoting ideologies of hate, whether or not you consider it violent on its own, always complements and correlates with violent actions. Well, yeah, it's you guys jumping at shadows as to what's an ideology of hate.
It's just like the cyber violence argument, isn't it? This counts as a form of violence because it leads to it because reasons.
Oh, this cyber violence. Fucking hell. Yeah, it is a bit. By affiliating themselves with movements and ideologies based on oppression and genocide, who's affiliating them? Who's affiliating themselves with a movement based on genocide?
Nazis. Nazis were based on genocide, and everyone's a Nazi. Remember?
Fuck. I wonder if...
And to be fair, Nazis committed genocide of other peoples, and communists tend to do it to their own people. I don't know if that count as less ethically bad. I don't even know. Probably not, right? I think killing any kind of people is bad.
By affiliating themselves with any movements based on oppression, we've done that. Show their intention to carry on these legacies of violence, but only if they can develop a base of support. So, so no gathering in.
So we have to commit violence to prevent them from committing violence, and we have the ability and the platform to commit violence, which means we're already a step ahead of of our opponents, of where we think our opponents are. We've already taken what we once called peaceful protest into what is now full blown fucking mob violence.
But that's violence responsibly to stop the violence.
It's not as though we have the very power that we're saying our opponents have. It's bro, you're dreaming.
Trying to suppress their voices will backfire by generating interest in them. Resistance to fascism doesn't increase interest in fascist views. Resistance to fascism doesn't increase interest in no. If anything, liberals mobilizing to defend fascists on free speech grounds increases interest in their views by conferring legitimacy on them. It just makes you look like cunts. This plays directly into their organising goal. This plays directly into their organising goals, allowing them to drive a wedge between their opponents, using free speech as a smokescreen. Fucking hell. By tolerating racism, homophobia, anti-Semitism, and xenophobia, it sounds like fucking old Hillary Clinton, doesn't it? So-called free speech advocates are complicit in the acts of terror fascist organising makes possible. By tolerating racism, homophobia, anti-Semitism, and xenophobia, so-called free speech advocates are complicit in the acts of terror fascist organising makes possible. What?
Tolerance is bad. If you tolerate the wrong. See?
Oh, fuck, here's a good one. They have rights like everybody else.
Oh, this is brilliant. Oh, my God.
No one has the right to organise violence against their community.
Zoom in on that sentence. Fucking. Da-da-da! Fucking hell.
Yeah, isn't that brilliant? And if they think they do, we'll beat the fuck out of them. Likewise, we reject the right of government and police. Oh, for fuck. Likewise, we reject the right, just any right, of the government and police, who have more in common with the fascists than they do with us. To decide for us when fascists have crossed the line from expressing themselves into posing an immediate threat. We will not abdicate our freedom to judge when and how to defend ourselves. Fuck. You defend yourselves by fucking making cunts of yourself, though. You defend yourself by getting a bat and fucking batting people across the face with it. That's not defending yourself, you faggots. Fucking hell.
Yeah, attack is the best form of defense, is an excuse that cunts make to go around beating the shit out of people.
Yeah. Fucking hell. That's the end of that's the end of the free speech. Fuck. What did you think of that, Doc? Are you enlightened?
Very much so. Yes, I've got a detailed snapshot of the inner workings of the mind.
This was
of
interesting.
these people.
I want to have a look into this. Crime Think, ex-workers collective. Crime Think is everything that evades control. The daydream in the classroom, the renegade breaking ranks, the spray painted walls that continue to speak even under martial law. It is the persistent sense that things could be otherwise, that there is nothing natural or inevitable about the prevailing social order. In a world optimized for administration, everything that cannot be classified or displayed on a screen is crime think. It is the spirit of rebellion without which freedom is literally unthinkable. So crime think is like
It sounds like, you know, something that someone in the French Resistance during the Second World War would say. But the thing is, they couldn't. The fucking resistance, the French Resistance, because you know France was basically taken over by Nazis and was under rule. But there were you know
when was
there were lots of
in the 40s.
Yeah. Basically, we often ask ourselves the question: hey, if you were in France in the 1940s, would you join the Nazis or would you join the resistance? And yeah, we're starting to get answers to that question because anyway. But let's look at the flipped version of reality that they've got. They think they are the French resistance, that they're resisting the Nazi occupation of their country. The thing is, the French resistance couldn't put shit like this up in public. They had to do it all underground because they couldn't let the authorities hear what they were planning.
Yeah.
These guys are doing it all out in the open. They've fucking got their rules up on the internet, and they can organize rallies at will, and the police doesn't do shit about it. Yeah. You are not the French resistance, guys. Guess who you are? I'm not, you know, the answer's fucking obvious, but I don't want to go Godwin either. So,
have you ever seen their fucking the marches they organise with the airsoft rifles? they're funny as fuck. Like there'll be a fucking platoon, you know, say 30 or 40 fucking, you know, cockheads marching down the street with their masks and their balaclavas on. They've got like paintball guns and shit.
Yeah, that's not what a resistance to a fascist authority looks like.
I just want to show you this Steve Shives rant this morning. It was spectacular. Did you see what that cunt did to me this morning?
No. What's Shives over there?
I became his patron.
I did see that. And he fucking did you for bullying and harassment. And was that all you said to him? Hi, Steve.
That's all that. That's all that. Everything in that video is all that happened. There was no extra message saying "fuck you, cunt." I reckon you're a faggot. There's none of that. Nothing. Right? What you see is what you get. And reported straight away for bullying and harassment. Took him 17 minutes from when I became his platinum patron. Fuck's sake.
So did you get your money back, or have you just not?
I did get my money back. Yeah.
Well, I'm just trying to imagine what his excuses will be. You knew you were being intimidating. Did you know you were being? You probably did, but it's not outwardly intimidating. Fuck me. I mean, if he sent me a patron message saying, "Hey, do this song for me, and I want a picture as a honey badger," I'd be all right.
Yeah, if he became my patron, became my patron for $20, I'd make him a personalized video. I'd fucking play ball. I'd just no worries. You're good on your champ.
Yeah, and they know you wouldn't mean that either. It's a good thing about being a sarky cunt. Is it? If you're known for being a sarcastic cunt all the time, then you can pretty much get away with anything you don't mean if you say it right.
You got to see this. This is breathtaking. This rant.
Shives me, baby. Shives me up good and proper. Are you playing it? Because I can't see it.
I'm just finding it.
All right.
and it's to no one. I think I counted it's literally 38. I think it's 38 tweets to himself. So he tweets something out and then he responds to himself without anyone responding in between. 38 consecutive times.
Fucking hell.
That's fucked.
At that point, you got to say, okay, Twitter's not the platform for this. At least do a tweet longer, dude. Whatever those are.
Well, he's probably he's got no one left to talk to because he's blocked everyone. It's just make believe now. Come on, you can't.
And he does only get a few hundred views, even though he's got 50,000 subs. That must be depressing. Unless he's just buying the subs. He might just be buying the subs. You never know.
How do you buy subs though? Is there a place you can buy? Like, can you literally pay someone to? How does it work?
Maybe this was a thing they stopped a few years ago, but back in the day, people just because much like you can hire a crowd to go to a gig to make your band look good.
Are they real people though? Or is it just some cunt making a whole bunch of dummy accounts?
I don't know. Maybe there's both kinds out there. Jeez. Just a sort of rent a crowd thing.
It's fucking stupid though, isn't it?
But yeah, most people get fewer views on their videos than they have overall subs.
Oh yeah, I do without a doubt.
The ratio is just massive with Steve.
Yeah. Okay, here we are. Fucking hell. All right.
Bum 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 bum. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, it starts off with this one. Now, I actually haven't gone through this yet, so this would be a good exercise. So I'll get your understanding of this because I don't think I could weather this myself.
From a federal bureau friend.
When the ACLU defends Nazis, that's their job. If you're defending Nazis in your spare time, you need a better hobby. Right? White supremacy is bad. White supremacy is dangerous. White supremacy isn't a difference of opinion we should platform and debate. But what does he mean by white supremacy? Because I've heard some versions of supremacy that are just, it's just the milk.
It's not the same as white nationalism, basically. There are guys like Ramsey Paul who identify as white nationalists. But just in the same way that they want an ethno-state, in the same way that Jews have an ethno-state, which is it's sort of almost there, but not quite.
Yeah, but I remember doing a video not long back where there was this gay Asian, this Gaysian guy who was whinging about a film studio not choosing a fucking Asian actor as white supremacy. Like it's pretty innocent.
Yeah, it's become the racial version of misogyny, the thought terminating cliche that you can fit into a tweet.
Making a space for white supremacy, arguing with white supremacy should be allowed to express and enlarge itself, aid and empowers. What? Making a space for white supremacy, arguing that white supremacy should be allowed to express and enlarge itself, aids and empowers it.
That's where you could have used a semicolon, Steve. I only recently learned how you use a semicolon, but between supremacy and arguing there is where it would have made sense.
If I see a neo-Nazi being treated unfairly, I don't help him. No, of course you don't. If a neo-Nazi being treated unfairly asks me for help, I don't help him. For fuck's sake, Steve. Who's a neo-Nazi? If I see others who aren't neo-Nazis helping the neo-Nazis, I might say, why are so many of us going out of our way to help neo-Nazis? Fucking hell, this guy's gone bonkers.
I don't know anyone who goes out of their way to help white supremacists or neo-Nazis. It's like saying, get these people out of our space. They're not in your space, Steve. They're fucking miles away from your space already.
Yeah, when's the last time you had to shoo one away? When's the last time you lost a friend to one? You know, one swayed a friend away from you. For fuck's sake. Because I don't get it. If you're against racism and fascism, stop fighting alongside racists and fascists. If you don't like being unfairly labelled as sympathetic to racists and fascists, then stop. Oh, for fuck's sake.
How do you feel about Muslims again, Steve? How do you feel about the backlash against Islam? Do you think there's any what you would call racists and fascists in the good religion of Islam? Because you keep defending those folks and all the hegemonic cisgendered shit they seem to insist on.
Unconditionally, you'll defend unconditionally. It seems. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to keep harping on this. No, don't be silly. But I'm genuinely upset and baffled by it. What is so admirable about rushing to the defense of people who would kill you if they had the power to do so? Muslims? How is it a defense of liberty to spend your energy making sure there's space for people whose ideology calls for an end to liberty? Fucking hell.
Because that might be a good idea. It sounds like a fucking terrible idea to me, but I'm happy for there to be a space where people I disagree with can say their ideas. I'm happy to have an authoritarian there saying, no, I think we should take an authoritarian direction. So I can say, okay, why do you think that? What are the details here? Hash, hash, hash. I disagree with you. Thanks for the conversation.
Yeah.
It's fucking civil discourse, Steve.
Yeah. Well, I think to people like Steve, it's different idea to me. You're a mortal enemy to me. There's no discourse. There's no conversation. It's just you bad. You disappear, cunt.
And who are the 13 people who sat through all this shit and liked it?
Yeah. Fucking hell, he's got a few likes on this shit. Holy shit. No, we've done that one. When people show up to disrupt a tax day protest, what's a tax day protest?
Don't know. Was that the Berkeley thing? No, that was something else, wasn't it?
I'm just looking this up. We're gonna find out what this is. Tax day protest. The Tax March, also known as the Tax Day March and Trump's Tax Day, was a series of demonstrations held in more than 150 locations throughout the United States on April 15th, 2017. The intent was to pressure US President Donald Trump to release his tax returns. Surely he's under no obligation to release his tax return. Chat, does anyone know?
I thought MSNBC already did that.
That was from 2005, I think. They were the old ones.
Okay. What?
But I don't understand why a president would be obliged to release his tax. And fuck you, they're my tax returns. Get the fuck out of mind your own business. Like, why does he have to release his tax returns? Surely he's got a right to privacy like everyone else.
I think everyone's playing the "How would you like it" card on Trump because Trump went so hard on Obama with the birth certificate thing. Why should a president have to show their birth certificate? It's a similar question, I suppose.
Oh yeah, okay, I think I get it now. So when people show up to disrupt a tax day protest, holding up signs with Nazi slogans and making it the fucking Hitler salute, did people really show up with fucking Nazi shit?
Maybe one or two. There's they're not non-existent. They're just very fucking rare, especially compared with people like Steve.
Yeah, they're not a force. Yeah, they're one or two nut jobs. But we'll look into that. And if you decide to spend your time arguing against the people who showed up to oppose the Nazis, I'm sorry, I don't understand that.
Because they're fucking violent, Steve. Because the Nazis are just holding up signs and the commies are fucking throwing things and setting the contents of dumpsters on fire and shit.
Yeah.
It's about their actions, not what they say. It's a
What's
fucking
your
quote from the
take
FAQ.
What's your take on Moldy Locks, on that bird that got punched by that dude at the last riots?
She came out for a fight, right?
Yeah.
It took me a few watchings of the footage, because at first it looks like the dude comes out of nowhere and just starts punching her, but she had already started kicking a guy when he was down, when he appeared out of nowhere.
Ideally, I don't think that dude should have punched her, but I mean,
no
one should have punched anyone, sort of thing.
They both came out for a fight, though, is the thing.
Yeah.
So they're both as bad as each other.
Yeah, I've heard a few people sort of making the accusation of hypocrite a few times today. People from the left saying, Richard Spencer, Moldy Locks, you bunch of cunts, but they're not the same. I mean, not that I'm on Richard Spencer's fucking side, but Richard Spencer wasn't looking for a fight. He was standing in the street doing an interview. He wasn't.
Yeah, he wasn't even in the Street Fighter stance, just up and down like she was. She had her arms in the air in the "let's have a fight" stance when she got punched in the face. Now that could be something that idiots with no combat training do anyway. It's very possible that he knows how to fight and she doesn't, and it wasn't a fair fight. But neither of them could have known that going into it. They could have assumed it, but fucking two crowds of people go into a fight. Every individual in there should be aware that there's going to be a wide range of individuals in the other army. And once you're in a street fight, the rules start to dissolve.
The problem with the Richard Spencer scenario is it's nothing to do with Richard Spencer. It's the fact that it was somebody standing there, not in any mindset.
Talking about Pepe.
It could be your grandma. It could be your mum.
He was explaining what Pepe it was at the moment he got struck in the jaw there.
Yeah. You don't even have to approve of Nazi punching to think it's ridiculous to judge the guy punching a Nazi more harshly than the actual Nazi. Well, fuck again. How's he a Nazi, and why is he deserving of this punch? Fucking hell. We keep going over these questions. You
have to punch them so they don't punch anyone, because punching's bad when they do it.
But have you heard a bunch of these people sort of use this fucking line of punching a Nazi is justified because if it stops a genocide, then it's justified. How is punching someone in the face going to stop a genocide, you fucking idiot? Well, you think he's going to go, oh, that hurt. I'm calling off my genocide plans. Fuck.
Oh, violence has been enacted on me. I'm going to change my violent ways. That's how that works.
Jeez. Like I was responding to a Kevin Logan video a few months back, and this very thing came up, and I said, Kev, look, if that's your stance, like if your position is violence against so-called Nazis is okay because it could stop some genocide, then you've got to be prepared to use violence to a degree that it will stop a genocide. Now, are you prepared to kill Richard Spencer? Because I don't think you are.
Are you prepared to assassinate Trump? Is a good question. I mean, a lot of people would say yes at this point. A lot of people were already saying yes before he even got elected.
Well, it was a good move. It was a good move appointing Pence as his fucking as his vice, wasn't it? That's one hell of an insurance card.
Maybe that was. I mean, that was John McCain's thinking behind Sarah Palin. You went too far, though, mate. You went unelectable, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Fucking hell! Imagine that thing. Fucking as President Sarah Palin. Fucking hell.
Couldn't be much worse than Joe Biden, though. The vice president.
She'd still like make the kids' lunches. Get up in the morning and make the kids' school lunches. Decide to bomb Syria, after you've dropped the kids off. Yesterday, I had a very frustrating Twitter exchange with someone I respect, where I was told I was sacrificing the high ground.
You never had the fucking high ground to sacrifice, Steve.
We have very different concepts of what constitutes high ground in this case. You have very different concepts with fucking everyone else. If holding the high ground means taking the side of racists and fascists over those who oppose them, then I never. No. It's not taking the side of fascists and racists. It's taking the side of civil rights. You fuckhead. He does. I don't think he understands that his concept of of a universal right or a civil right for everyone. It's do I want this individual to be punched? Do I want this individual to feel pain? And that's all that goes through his head.
Yeah, it's just to him, politics is more important than actions. Not in my opinion, and presumably your opinion. You side with the least violent, more reasonable side. But in Steve's case, it's no. Doesn't matter how violent they are. You side with the politically correct side. And when I say politically correct, I mean it literally, because that's what it's become. It's not just a euphemism for making fairy stories less racist. It's now you have to vote for the correct politics, or you're politically incorrect and therefore a fascist.
Jeez. Supporting free speech means accepting that not everyone who exercises that right will say things you like. I've always believed that. Okay. But that belief doesn't require me to step up and object. But that belief doesn't require me to step up and object when fascists and racists are being shut down by protesters.
You mean a protest to protesters being protested?
Well, he's saying I've always thought that free speech means accepting that not everyone it means that people can say things that I don't like, except for when people say things that I don't like.
Yeah, and it's funny how he's using protesters only to describe his side. A lot of these so-called racists and fascists are protesting something, like for instance, having their free speech taken away. But that's not how he frames it.
Yeah,
he doesn't say require me to step up and object when protesters are being shut down by communists. Yeah. Even though that's just as true a description of that event.
Yeah. Not throwing punches, not swinging bats, that's not my thing. But placing my body alongside others against organised, emboldened bigots. What? But placing my body alongside others against organised, emboldened bigots.
That's a good band name. I'm calling it. Emboldened bigots.
Organised, emboldened bigots.
No, just emboldened bigots. I like it.
There's this tendency in skeptical/atheist circles to treat every argument as abstract, to approach everything in principle mode. No, someone's right to stand in the street and not be fucking attacked is a principle thing. You stupid fucking cunt. Jesus Christ, you take Richard Spencer out of it and put your grandma there. And then
violence against women. You're supporting violence against old women, Bearing. You're fucking misogynist, oldest. Something.
Hey, that reminds me of a good point. Who was it that raised? Steve's pretty pro punch Nazis. What about a Nazi woman? Was that a punch Nazi?
Yeah, I'm sure we brought this up at the time, and now it's come up. Was this ever about is it okay to punch a Nazi, or has it only ever been is it okay to punch a man? It's probably okay to punch a communist man, and maybe okay to punch a Nazi woman. It's the progressive stack, man. We're figuring out where communists and fascists go on the progressive stack. Obviously, communists are higher, but we're wondering just how low we put fascists. Are they below white men? Or are they just above?
I'd love to
because there are quite a lot of Latino fascists, believe it or not.
I'd love to see how this pyramid works in his head. It'd be a fucking jumbled mess. Fucking hell. But white supremacists aren't gaining traction in principle. They're really doing it. They're really doing it. It's happening. All right. White supremacists aren't working in the White House in principle. They're there. They're shaping policy.
What? So he's saying white supremacists
Are controlling
are
the White House.
literally in the White House.
Yeah. So he's saying Trump and his.
So yeah, he's just using white supremacist as a fucking hyperbolic catch-all insult for everyone.
Yeah.
You can say the same thing about misogynists. Misogynists aren't working in the White House in principle. They're there. They're shaping policy.
So how does one distinguish between a Nazi and a white supremacist? Why haven't Nazis got control of the White House? Is that going too far? Is that a bit too risque to say?
Apparently, yeah. there was once upon a time such a thing as the Nazi Party. I don't think there's ever been such a thing as a white supremacist party. But they usually call themselves, because the BNP or the whatever, in the British Nationalist Party. But they will deny until the sun goes down that they're racists. And most people don't believe them.
Have you looked
in the last 5 years? I don't know who to believe.
Have you looked into much of Spencer's rhetoric?
No, not at all. It's still pretty much the only time I've heard of him was because he got punched that one time. I mean, I think there was that thing about how his audience did Nazi salutes. I think that's what made everyone hate him. Yeah. I don't know anything about the guy apart from that.
And I'll be goddamned if I'm going to do anything to help it. What? Hang on. So I missed one. Neo-Nazis aren't recruiting people and becoming ever more active on social media in principle. Hang on. Neo-Nazis aren't recruiting people and becoming ever more active on social media in principle. It's not a thought experiment. It's real. Hang on. So neo-Nazis
they're not recruiting people, but there should have been a but rather than an and there, Steve, I think, for clarification. So they're not recruiting people, but they're ever more active on social media in principle? I don't know how that works. How can you be on social media just in principle? You're either there or you're not.
He's got the swastikas in the chat in mind. That's what he's talking about. If supporting free speech but failing to defend it when the defendants are Nazis makes me philosophically inconsistent, so be it. If supporting free speech but failing to defend it when... Oh, for fuck's sake. You're a fuckhead. If it makes me a hypocrite, so be it. Not the end of the world. I can live with that.
Okay, thanks, Steve. And end of discussion. So people do this all the time when they think that's a fucking legitimate thing to say. Yeah, you're a hypocrite, Steve. Okay, you admit to being a hypocrite. That's fine. But that means we don't have to listen to you, Steve. It means your opinions are fucked up and fucking wired in the wrong direction, and we don't have to listen to you.
But he's saying this
you're a self-confessed hypocrite. You're saying I can't think properly. What? What about it? Well, fuck you, Steve. That's what about it.
He's saying this as if it's like, I'm a hypocrite. I'll wear that. I'll wear that with honor. I'll be a hypocrite if it means being me. Fucking hell. Free speech.
Yeah, that's fine. This is another element of free speech. If you want to be a fucking hypocrite, that's absolutely fine, and you can be a hypocrite in public. You can spout your hypocrisy to thousands of people, and that's fine. But we're going to put our hands and say, "Hey, Steve, isn't that hypocrisy? Therefore, fucking pointless, and we're not going to listen to it."
Yeah. You can promise people perks on Patreon, cunt, and then fucking not deliver. Fuck you, Steve. Fuck you, Steve. I want my personalised video, cunt. Free speech.
I want Scruffy in it. You better have Scruffy in it.
Imagine, what would the video be? What would because it was a 1 minute video. A 1 minute personalised video. Would it'd be Steve going, hey, Bearing, I've got... what would he fucking say in it? Scruffy go, oh, hey, Barry, I can't begin to imagine what he'd fucking say. What? Do you have any idea?
I don't know. He'd say, Bearing wants me to do a video, but I'm not going to do a video for Bearing because I don't want to give him a platform. It would be wrong. to give him a platform. Oh, hey, Chris, what are you doing a video about this week? Oh, you're doing another 5 videos about bearing. Okay, but I'm not going to do a video about bearing because that would be wrong.
Well, let's just say like fucking Christy Winters signed up to be a platinum a platinum patron, and she got a personalized. What would that? Hey Christy, it's Steve here with Stuffy. Yeah, I'm lost. Yeah,
I think your videos are great. I don't know what Scruffy is. I just heard about him from your video.
Yeah. Oh, haven't you watched Steve and Scruffy? Man, you're fucking missing.
No, I don't watch Steve. Believe it or not,
you are missing out. We've got to. We should do a takeoff of it. We should like do an overdub version where we fuck the voices.
Fuck yes. Oh god, yes. I'll throw in some extra puppets as well.
Yeah. Free speech for everyone, but Nazis can defend their own rights. I'm not doing it, especially not in the name of humanism. What's humanism?
I don't know. It's interchangeable with secularism and to some degree atheism, but it's kind of separated from those in different degrees.
Because I've had situations where I think Fisty Splinters has sort of said, sort of made these like backhanded accusations, like, oh, geez, that's not very humanist of you bearing type thing. She's used it in that way. Like, what's a humanist, fuckhead?
So,
and
it's pro-human, I suppose.
Yeah.
As opposed to anti-human.
Yeah.
Which is a stance that people take, but it's not an identity that people have, I suppose.
Yeah, humanist. Yeah, it's I'm pro people. Fucking stupid. P.S. Just to be extra clear about what I have a problem with here, since I've been accused of dishonesty framing this argument. Who accused him of dishonesty? Fuckhead. I don't think people who take it upon themselves to defend free speech rights of Nazis are Nazis themselves. Or sympathetic to what? I don't think people who take it upon themselves to defend free speech rights of Nazis are Nazis themselves or sympathetic to Nazi ideology.
You just don't agree with them.
But that's exactly what he's done. That's what he did to.
He doesn't think they're sympathetic to Nazi ideology. He just thinks they enable Nazi ideology by giving it a platform, which is describable as sympathetic. Steve.
Yeah.
Sometimes people know too many words for their own good, you know?
My quarrel with them is
better off with just 50 words in your vocabulary, Steve. You might actually be more clear.
And he's going to explain it. My quarrel with them isn't that I think that they're Nazis. My quarrel with them is that they speak up to defend the rights of Nazis, and in doing so, make it easier for Nazis to keep doing Nazi stuff. And unless you're a public defender appointed to defend a Nazi, I don't think defending Nazis is something you should ever do. Even if legally speaking, that Nazi has a case. Are you that Nazi's lawyer? No. Then stop defending the Nazi. Fuck that Nazi.
But he still doesn't think people who take it upon themselves to defend the free speech rights of Nazis are sympathetic to Nazis or anything. I'm not saying the thing I'm saying. Now let me say it again.
Okay, now I'm really done. Probably. Oh, he's actually done. So that was 38 tweets. That's insane. And 84 people like that. Fuck you.
Yeah, you're impulsive, Steve. You wrote one thing down, and then you wrote the next thought down. Just have 38 thoughts first and see if you can make a video of it.
Yeah, and make a fucking JPEG cunt.